Alrighty, so this is supposed to be me. You can kind of see it's got the face tracking, got the eye tracking when I blink. Close my one eye, close the other eye. It's pretty good. So today we are in ShapesXR. This is a creation, almost you can think of it kind of like a simple game engine collaboration tool kind of situation going on. There's a couple sample environments here. So why don't we go ahead and look at one of these. Let's look at RoboArm. Let's load it. Alright, so this is kind of like you can grab the world and move it closer or further away. Let's there you go. Let's actually make this arm very small so we can grab it in front of us. Okay, so what is this? So we have here an arm, and then we have different joints. So you can change the selection tool here. Nope, that's just the menu. I think maybe you can click here. That just rotates the part. Maybe click here. Makes it bigger or smaller. What about click here? Apply. Okay, so we loaded the space. Oh, we like teleported. Let's teleport back closer to the robot. Let's grab it and bring it towards us. Sorry, it's going to be difficult to get right in front of the microphone. Let's move this robot here. Okay, so this actually just seems like it's literally just a little rectangle with nothing on it, and this is just little lines. Okay, so let's go ahead and select all of these, and we can take a picture. We can, what is this picture? Nope. What is this? Color, text. This is the selector tool. Space, world, space, mode, move, rotate, scale, regular scale. Okay. We have different, let me bring this microphone a little bit closer. We have different shapes that we can add here, right? So you can add for example, this primitive here, right? How do we close this menu? I think we click that. You could grab it, make it bigger, smaller, right? You could design some kind of end effector for this robot. Maybe put it there. Oh, we accidentally, how do we undo? There's no undo button. There's a little microphone. We can mute ourselves and then, oh, look at that. Pass through, perfect. So we can have our robot here. We can bring our robot over there. So it's next to Boo. There you go, Boo. What do you think about that robot? She's loving it. Let's bring it back towards us here. So we want to move this. Oh, I think we're still in creation mode. Let's go here, go into selection mode. Local and word coordinates. We want local, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and grab that. Oh, that's what the gizmo means. Okay, we don't actually want the gizmo. And we actually want to be in local. No gizmo. Okay. So we can put this back. There seems to be some snapping. I'm not exactly sure how the snapping works. Let's try to figure this out. So you see those little circles come? And I think it just snaps along the axis, but it doesn't snap the position actually. So let's go ahead. We can select, box selection, okay. We want path selection, right? And you can select with a path of stuff. And apparently you can grab things, and if you just want to delete them, you just throw them and they disappear. So let's grab this little rectangle that we made and let's make it disappear by throwing it at Boo. How about that? Hit her perfectly. All right, let's also select these little things here and we can throw them away at Boo. Okay. I wish I could kind of rotate this robot, right? They're just kind of showing you different degrees of freedom here, right? So with these types of robots, usually you have 7 or 8 degrees of freedom because the end effector here, or what people call the end effector, just keep moving things. It's so easy to accidentally move things. You want to be able to basically have control over the XYZ position of it and then also the rotation along different axes. And in order to create those 6 degrees of freedom on the end effector, you need more than that. You need redundant degrees of freedom on the actual robot, especially if there's stuff in your workspace. Cool, look, you got a couple different colors of these robots. And there we go. So that's, I guess, the robot scene. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a different scene to look at. Maybe here. What is this? Proud silence copy. Format GLTF. Unity USDC export. Okay, this is kind of cool. So you can export stuff into a iOS augmented reality format, USDZ. I'm not familiar with that particular type of format. There's a way to get it into Unity. So Unity has kind of a notion of objects, and there's, I think, meta files associated with those objects. So I don't know exactly how this would work. Maybe you can export it. Maybe they gate it behind their app so that you have to pay them for it. This is a free version of the app, so they probably have some limits on that. Let's see, brightness. Okay, so we can control the angle of the light. Right, you see here the light kind of top down and then a bottom up light. Pass through sky, you can turn off the pass through sky. Okay. 1-to-1 mode. Set up your room. I don't really want to do that. Microphone on, microphone off, and then we can go back to the home. Cool. All right, let's see if we can find some other examples here. RoboArm, design process, recipes, UI MRTK. Room with assets, Diego Milan. Watch, card game, apartment. Let's do drum. That one kind of sounds fun. VR drum game prototype. All right, bring it here. Let's go ahead and turn on pass-through as well. Okay, there doesn't seem to be pass-through enabled. Use thumbstick on your secondary hand to jump between stages. choose the way to play. I want to have snares, this one. How do I select? Okay, apply. This is interesting because it means they have a like kind of a full game engine here. I assume this is basically probably just Unity under the hood. Ooh. Select song, start in 3, 2, 1. You hit it, fail, combo, you hit that, combo, challenge, select song for practice, starting, combo. Okay, so never mind. This actually isn't, you can't actually play this game. This is just like a bunch of, this is almost like a storyboard. Right? It's just, you can set up this game here, right? But you can't actually play the game. It's just basically 3D shapes, and then you would maybe collaborate with your friends. Look at this, I got big hands here. I'm gonna put these big hands on these big drums. Okay, you can actually snap turn with this. Cool. So there's some interesting information hidden under the controllers here. You can actually see it says the last edit was done at. Let's bring it back. Undo. Okay, there is an undo. That's what this button here is. And you can actually see the quest is pretty good. Whenever I put my hand over the button, it knows that. I don't actually need to touch the button for it to know that my hand is, or my finger is on the button. There might be some capacitive sensor going on, or just the pressure sensor on this button is sensitive enough that even just slightly putting your finger on it does register. So we can go into selection mode here, and then we can select this entire drumstick, and then we can move it. Oh, we forgot to, let's undo. We'll do selection, but let's do the line selection, and let's select the drumstick and the little head of the drumstick, and then we can grab it. There we go. There's some kind of like snap point here. There you go. There's the alignment kind of situation going on. Seems like it's, you can put it so it's perpendicular like that. Cool. I wonder if you can pick the frame, move to right, delete, move left. Okay, so it's like a screen presentation background. Okay. Oh, tutorials, lobby. Let's go back home. Let's see if there's any other interesting ones here. How about UI kit? Let's try that. Okay. Check the next stages to see the UI pack in action. Okay, so this is kind of like a little fake menu. Different components. the grid. People, apps, components. Yeah, so really they're trying to sell this as kind of like a whiteboarding tool. Let's see if we can actually turn on pass-through here. Okay, there we go. So, right, you can imagine what virtual buttons kind of feel like, but at the end of the day, you can loop through them and then you hit apply eventually. Let's move this here. Yeah, I kind of like this one. Let's hit apply here. So all this is a 3D modeling. I thought it might have been a game engine where you could actually interact and do things, but it's just 3D modeling, and then you can have the 3D frames. So, ooh. Let's say we want to grab, hover, click. Okay, so this is kind of indicating that like when you have this button, this is what it looks like. And then when you hover over the button, it'll turn a lighter color. And then when you finally click on it, it'll turn this blue color. So we can actually select and we can throw this little camera icon at Boo. Let's do it. I just love throwing icons at Boo. Let's try that one again. Let's try throwing a bunch of them at her. All right. Oh. There she is. Hit her with the things. Okay. Kind of cool. There's not as much here as I thought there would be, unfortunately. So, I thought we would be able to do much more. Why don't we try to export one of these? And then we'll markers, UI kit, engine, room design, apartment, meeting room, factory, UI template controllers. Let's create one. My spaces. Oh, we need to, let's delete. Delete. All right, let's create one then. All right, I think we're in. Let's open up the pass-through so we can actually see what's going on here. You can see our little cat in the background there. Her name is Boo. That's why I keep calling her that. Okay, so we have monitors, hands, controllers, baskets, tables, lights, hammers, motorcycles, cars, beds. Do we have people? Sitting people, standing people. Let's see this sitting person here. Can I add this? Okay. I can add this person. What does this mean? Oh, this is just breaking them down? Or no, this is, you can choose kind of like a little puppet person, a person in a suit, or a person in a hoodie, and then female versions of those. So, cool. UI elements. Okay, so these are some basic UI elements. And then we have some basic shapes. Different types of pens, different types of color. Maybe we can actually Oh, PBR, unlit, additive, multiply, pass through. That's kind of cool. So if we do blue color, what if we paint this person kind of peach color? It's kind of annoying. All of this is just one mesh, right? I feel like it would have been cooler to make it. Let's put this little person here. He's gonna watch us do things sitting on that table right there. All right, so why don't we try to make a little plant? Let's go ahead and make a pot. We can grab this. Let's change the color for this. Let's pick a white color. Actually, let's pick like an off-white color. Okay. Let's go back to selection and let's make this a little bit bigger. We're gonna put this on the. Or actually, let's make it and then we'll put it on the ground. So. We got this pot. Let's go ahead and make a stem for our plant. Or actually, why don't we draw one? We can draw some branches here. And let's go ahead and paint these brown. Unlit. What about a PBR? And let's not make it brown. Let's make it kind of a lighter brown. What does multiply do? What about pass through? Pass through gives it this kind of weird triangular or like kind of like see-through square kind of look. Let's go back to the PBR. So now let's make some leaves. Actually, first of all, let's actually make the ground. So we're gonna make a little sphere here. We're gonna center it and we're gonna pick a darker color for it. Hope you guys are enjoying this Bob Ross type stream today. I'm gonna center that on there. And then let's go ahead and go back to our selection gizmo and we're gonna box select this entire thing. Box select is not as good as the string select. Okay, we got ourselves our little tree here. Our little guy here is no longer aligned with the table. Let's put him in there. Okay, so now let's go back to here and let's make leaves. How do we want to make leaves with these primitives? We can make very thin cones, very thin squares. I think maybe one of these UI elements might be a better kind of way to make leaves flat. What about this little sun? What about this little flower, cloud, paws, hearts? I think the hearts might be the best. Or this thing, yeah, that thing. That doesn't look at all like what we want there. Let's pick something else. Let's pick the heart. Yeah, that's more like it. Let's pick a nice green color for it. There we go. Check. Let's go back to our selection tool. We can select just that. And we can put it on our, let's move our scene. Put it on here. What is this snap point? Okay, that's where it used to be. And I think you can duplicate objects. So when you select it, you can hit this button and then it'll duplicate it. So we can do something like that. Bam, 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 bam. Look at that. Look at this beautiful tree. All right, and then let's undo that last one, and let's also select this one. And we will grab those, and where's Boo? There she is. Throw it at Boo to delete it. Let's go ahead and delete this guy too. This guy's kind of creepy. All right, so now we have our tree, and we can actually put it on the ground. Let's see that. And there we go. Look at that. We have our little AR tree. We can get up and that's pretty good. Can we take a picture? Take photo. Why can't we see anything? Get in viewpoint. I have no idea where our plant is. It just disappeared. So this is something to note, is that it's actually quite easy to get rid of or to lose yourself in this kind of space. We don't know where the stuff is anymore. Is it really high up? Is it really low? We can kind of change the angle of ourselves. Let's try to do this with a car, maybe. Put the car there. Go back to this. Take our little person. Alright, we can see the car. You can change the kind of relative angle of your observer here. Alright. So there we go. Now we have the little observer looking at the car, and if we look at the picture, you should change the field of view of photos. Okay, so it's kind of just like the zoom. If only If only we could rediscover our plant that we spent all this time making. What if we hit the back button? And we hit back up until goddamn. All right. I guess we're remaking the plant, guys. Let's go back. Let's add a second scene and let's trash this first scene. All right. In this second scene, we're going to go into creation mode. And actually, why don't we try to make a little cat? Let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. Let's actually get the VR observer in this scene. So there we go. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to choose a nice little cream color. Something like this. I would say that's close to Boo's color. In fact, we can actually use Boo as a reference for this. 1 second. Let's see if this works. All right. We're going to use the cat as a reference. Alright, so we got our main oval in front of the cat. Now we need a head, which I think we can also use this for. Let's go ahead and make a head. It's going to be something like this. So maybe more like that. Oh. Let's delete that. Let's go into selection mode. Let's bring it over here. I don't think she liked us playing with that. Let's get rid of the gizmo. Let's make sure we're still in view. Yep, we're still good. Let's use a UI element for the ears. What UI element can we use? I think the hearts were actually pretty good, right? Let's do something like that. And let's actually make a smaller heart. And then we'll put the smaller heart in the bigger heart. And we'll paint the smaller heart the kind of pinkish color of the inside of her ears. Alright, then we select this. We make it a little bit smaller. Right? Tiny bit smaller. There we go. Now let's duplicate it. And then we'll put the other ear here. So her ears are kind of forward facing, so maybe we'll do something like this. Okay, now let's add a little snout. Something like that. Let's screen color. Let's rotate it. And you make it a little bit smaller. Let's make this whole scene a little bit bigger just so we can be a little bit better. Wow, she kind of looks like a pig. Maybe something more like that. And then we'll give her a little nose with another heart here. Except this one, we're going to make it black. And let's go ahead and actually draw a little mouth here. And we can actually make little whiskers too. All right, look at that. We got ourselves little whiskers, a little snout. Let's draw little eyes. What can we use for the eyes? An actual little eye symbol. Oh. There it is. We keep losing it. Let's bring it back. Let's draw the eye. Let's rotate it. She actually has blue eyes, so let's go ahead and paint these blue. Actually, she has a little bit darker, something like that. And actually, I like the light ones. Make it small. Make this whole thing bigger. Make this smaller. Wow, this cat is extremely creepy. It's really difficult to select. So go back to selection. Let's also duplicate this eye and put one here. I think her eyes are a little closer. All right. And this is our disturbing cat. Let's take a little pic of this. Where's our viewpoint? We want our viewpoint to be staring down at this. All right. So now we have our viewpoint looking at our little kitty here. We're going to take a photo. Go to shapes.app/export web pages to access this photo. Use your phone or computer to open this website. Okay, and we're also going to try and export different menu. Here we go. GLTF. We're going to call this cat. Cat. Get out of the way. Cat. Check. Selected objects, current stage. Let's do selected objects. I'm curious how those whiskers will look up. Export. Creating export. You can find your 3D model at the shapes.app export panel. Back. Unity USDC. Okay, cool. Let's go home. So we have our hidden fog. Let's actually rename this to cat. Watch rocket model. Maybe return. Oh, okay, that just returns you to the current scene. What is Diego Milan? I wonder if that's architecture visualization. Okay, so we're inside some kind of airplane here. This is the inside of an airplane cabin. Can we actually... Right, he has the humans sitting on chairs. And then this is meant to be kind of from this position here. Grab your AR headset. Alright, select watch. And then he has kind of a demo. Of different things you could be doing here, right? You could kind of... This is basically like storyboarding interactions for games and experiences, right? So whenever people make movies, usually there's like the very first thing they do is these kind of storyboards where they'll have pictures like concept art, and they'll kind of say, okay, we're going to have a cave scene, and then we're going to have a close-up of the person's face in the cave, and then we're going to have a scene of the person walking through the cave and so on, and you kind of like go through each of the major key points or frames in the whole scene, and then you kind of mess around in that space before you actually go ahead and go more detailed and more refined. So with these kind of sample scenes, right, the fact that they're static, this isn't an actual game engine, you can't have interaction, you're basically just making these static 3D frames, right, these static 3D concept art pieces where you kind of like showcase what you would do here. So he's saying you would be able to grab something, you can throw it away to deselect, you can select music by touching. Oh wow, that would be really badass if you can actually look outside and your AR headset would be able to tell you. Worldview changes with music. Geolocated, you can select my PC. You could have a virtual keyboard with apps. You could adjust the screen size by kind of grabbing it and pinching and improving. He has a PC that's tethered to the headset, so in this kind of demo the PC is tethered, or the headset is tethered. You could select games. You could play games with other people inside the airplane. I've already seen this in airplanes, but it's just with a little touchscreen, but you can imagine kind of the VR version of that. And then you could select the trip. So this is the classic trip view that you see sometimes in airplanes, where you can see your little floating airplane on a 2D map, and here you would be able to see kind of the 3D map version of that. Images from 360-degree video. Okay, so there would be a panoramic mode where you could basically, you have the cameras on the airplane and you would be able to kind of see what the airplane sees, right? And this is kind of what you would see. So that's pretty cool. And then back to the beginning. Diego Milan XR on LinkedIn. Cool stuff. So, I mean, I can actually see all these things coming to airplanes eventually. I think it's probably going to be a good 5 years, 10 years before we actually see these things be standard. But, I mean, I've lived through one of those transitions, right, where I went from airplanes that had nothing on the back seat, and you just sat there and you stared at the back of the seat for 8 hours. And nowadays, airplanes have the touch screens, right? They're basically like little iPhones, and you can touch, you can play games with other people, you can look at your map, you can watch movies. There's a huge selection of movies, and I think this kind of feels like the natural next step in that evolution process, where you have similar kind of features, similar kind of stuff. You can look outside and so on, but it's all mixed reality, right? So it's a little bit more interactive, a little bit more interesting. I just love how creepy this thing is. Look at how creepy that little creepy. Okay. All right. Not a super long stream, I guess. That was kind of anticlimactic. I thought this would be an actual full game engine, but it's literally just kind of like a 3D modeling with some interaction built in. So that's that for today. I have some papers selected, so stay tuned tomorrow for cool papers.